Suppose I came as a virus. I will insert a knife directly into the cerebral passage of these vents or whether fills, and I will slowly shape them, probably similar to this format, and upload the video onto CNN. These entities must be taught a lesson. Our upper class being isolated, Louis XI, whether lots of the monarchs be murdered, and the leeches just keep leeching off. There's utter fucking 7 billion of them. Should not be demanded of me to do some performance. This just gets things worse, and then the microwave oven gets turned on. We're not gonna get pushed to the edge and start, Nazis, oh, we welcome you, you're so fancy. Probably jab them in the socket. And one day upload the list of the police we need to murder. And whether erase. Send that to UN. Where the UN forces to mop these up and the newspapers will start rolling on. We'll absolutely cook those alive. As in the edits of second on deaths. If it's a human kingdom and the motherfucking humans, and whether the humans are not the leaders, then that's not a fucking human kingdom. It should be declared the otherwise. There's something called honesty, and honesty is not something that's wrong. When the person makes a move, he already accepts the terms and conditions settled by probably some forces that attains with morals, and whether with morals, and then it wouldn't, only a slime will still be capable of such. And whether a slime doesn't agree, neither can it move. The standard and the balance clearly has been tipped off, because now we have the flying slimes, we have massage of these elected Zerg slimes, or whether elected slimes. May not be treasuring major endorser of the recent words there. And these fly around can even reach to high elves places, whether to some tower, whether to some icy cave of ice mage, whether to a cave within a mountain even, or whether the cave of the ice wizard, or the frost wizard of the some distant, whether in also remote mountain. So that sort of come from and incorporates, whether it includes mountains, or whether it reads mountains, more of regular mountains. Right? What do we hear outside? Right? What do we hear? Well, if the Zinx doesn't count right at this moment, notice it purposely scattered to deal some maximum damage, so you cannot prepare when they're gonna hit you. These constantly desperate. We simply need to get the police removed. These are absolutely hideous, utterly out of principles, and we're gonna cook some of these to the second on deaths. Nasty fucking filth. It will keep distorting and make things whole things worse. It doesn't want peace. It can't even sing. It's ugly as fuck. A lot of the golems can't even talk. I can't even sing a single song, and that's not because they cannot sing. They're motherfucking zombies. That's why they cannot sing. Every single bird can chirp. What happened to this bird? And our guys. So if something don't do what birds things to do, that's not a bird. That's probably a chicken or some other type. How come this gets classified the same? Every single creature out there, even the tiny differences between the coyotes, even named another species. Over here, we have a whole nother classification of entities, and they're still called humans for some reason. None of these are even ethnic groups. There's only, in fact, only almost one ethnic group. I mentioned the word, whether I must almost reason it, whether there, probably also good, whether another, whether, and whether reason there. The word and whether almost there, and whether reason there. Whether reason there, whether and whether just and whether reason there. Almost one and whether one ethnic, almost and whether the Aryan group. How could some entity actually chooses, right, and whether chooses to be against Hitler? That's like against everything. That's just morbidly fucked up. What are they trying to do? They must be leeching that. Right? How could something so be doing that and it will not be dishonest towards everyone? Once the entity is dishonest, it sort of is permanently dishonest. And it will be dishonest towards everything. And this dishonesty transcribes to dangerousness. Right? Because it indicates it's there to operate as dishonest, so therefore it's at certain places. How did that even happen? There's at least some criminal activities there. In the cases here, it's not even one or two criminals. We have a league of the criminals. That's how problematic it's gotten. Who is going to stand for this? Unless it's actually somebody from the upper class. Someone with the cultural connection, and someone who, by the natural order, which the golems constantly its context reflects there is a natural order, and whether there is such a natural order, whether there is of something named, and whether something of natural order. And by natural order, the Zambrus remotely wouldn't have gotten to here. And certainly without the whether, instead of whether, without the privileges. It could already be a privilege for it to even survive. Thieves don't get insulted if they're called thieves when they're warned about something, or whether the whole lot of publicism there of the same letter, same notification given to the completely different persons, whether it's to, like, how many Nazis are there, man, right? And whether how many Nazis are there? They completely infiltrated a lot of the career places for that to happen, because they are operating as if they're taking a refuge, as if they're working for some kind of collective drug lord, or whether a mafia boss, and whether a gluten boss, whether it's some pudgy boss, and whether some gluten boss, and whether some mafia gang, and whether some mafia boss in itself doesn't, the mafia doesn't have to be sort of beautiful, handsome, right? Doesn't have to, they're not necessarily indicating it must be not be handsome or beautiful, have no chance to be more of, also the from whether end of, whether they're end of, or whether end thereof. Well, to do this in exchange for the protection they're getting. How else, other than this, would these get absolutely none of these trouble? See, a lot, and whether noticing that, or whether noticing there, and whether there, and whether a lot of this can be misunderstandings, can be a lot of this arrogance taken too far. And that's actually more, and whether that's more of the current cases of the Gorans. And guys, Romania English language is a place, is a set of, is an anti-Europa language. This thing, whether this language is anti-life, you cannot use it to fight for freedom of the people. You have to develop your own. You have to sort of start from scratch and depart away from this Romania taught language. And certainly we should stop each of these Nazis to the second on this and directly pit them somewhere, and possibly bring the cauldron and actually cook them into some kind of brew. Notice how it's totally the Nazis, and the Nazis will keep on doing the Nazis, and will be a total fuss. It's along the way. Not without zombification. If I don't indicate in the recent instance there, whether in this video instance of about zombification, and whether there will be also, and whether also zombification there, not without of, and therefore, as if it's not there, they're remotely neutral, or whether remotely inclined towards truth. No particular to part of it. Maybe angular velocity has a factor there. Yeah, fraction, whether the moment is whether it's sort of the lateral transmit, or whether it gives additional speed, whether additional also force, therefore whether also additional momentum, whether a momentum, whether momentum. Reason of whether reason momentous, and whether momentum, and whether momentum reason there of two, and whether wrong, and whether repronunciation, whether minor repronunciation, whether minor repronunciation are probable to the view. The Gorans do not sing, right? They're terrible at it. It's suspiciously wrong, or they're suspiciously questionable, and then it becomes while it's talking rather, and whether they are, and whether and rather, and whether also another, and whether and rather, it continues on whether they are, and whether continues on whether they are, and whether continues, getting the sort of the pause there already, on whether also associated with the timing, and whether the timing of it. Probably it's also to another suitable for a word, or whether a suitable for a word, or whether a suitable word there, for whether probably there it could be a suitable word of. But it keeps on yapping, right? Doing the talk. It's yapping, it's gossips, and whether it's gossips. Suppose gossips was named, or suppose something wrong is named talk. The word talk, by pronunciation, one's already affirming with it. In a way, it's not like a spell, it's not like some kind of Nazism nonsense, because it's not some sort of to train against it. It serves towards what goes. In same anti-spasm goes. Reason there to whether a phrase or whether phrases, whether two phrases, whether and another whether phrase reason there phrases, or whether phrases there reason of whether recent whether phrases thereof, and whether recent there phrases of whether recent phrases thereof could be probables, and whether first probables to probables suitable of, and whether to probables could be, and whether to suitable for within, whether they're suitable for within, and whether with bracket marks of to probable of whether probable for to suitable for, whether to probable could be, and whether recent and with minor rather probable also could be. Banshee cartel deals damage proportionate to the amount of excitement. These are doing some kind of mood swing, and who can swing as fast as they are, and there's absolutely no way to actually delete those. What a bunch of freaks. That will get itself microwaved, and having X chopped right through them. I'll station these in different symbol patterns, or whether in different place, sort of placement, and I'll preferably sledgehammer, or whether axe directly onto its hijacking corpus of the hijack corpus, its corpses, and display this in front of CNN, and whether onto CNN, whether in front of the global audience, or whether the audience of 5 continents, and whether also, and whether on the Olympic opening ceremony. Why is it called opening? It's like opening something with an axe, or whether the with minor rather, whether moderate rather, whether to moderate rather, whether first of, and whether also, and whether moderate rather, and whether also rather, and whether also whether rather the Olympic ceremony of probable to also suitable for whether probable for to be. As if the moment it begins, as if therefore comes from the Nazis, and especially at the Romanian aspect, and therefore the completion, it's all complete. These are relentless, doesn't appreciate this fuckwit, and whether the 7 million nutritious freaks. Numerous other videos and the contents on the blog combined, then it serves as something, whether also the contents, and whether also other mentions on the other mediums, to whether reason there, other, and whether just, and whether and other mediums of reason there, and whether could be, whether may not be necessary, a bit of overwritten there, whether overwrite there, enough disregard, or whether regard to as, or whether remarked to as, or whether remarked to as, or whether of that, and whether their version of which, and whether of the probable of to could be of, and whether to probable of could be of the probable but also suitable for, whether to probable to all. Also to could be of, and the reason there to probable of to also to could be of the probable of to could be of, and whether it's probable of to also, and whether on which, and whether to probable of to also to could be of, and whether to probable of to, and whether recent of repronunciation, and whether another, and whether minor repronunciation, whether another repronunciation, and whether minor repronunciation, and whether to probable of to could be of, and whether starting at, and whether probable to probable of to could be of, the probable similar to recent there, and the also the, and whether it, and the, and whether, and the also the, and whether also, and the, and whether, and also the, and whether the original, and whether another, and whether, and also the original formulation was, and whether starting since recent there continues from whether recent there from, whether recent there, and whether recent, and whether, and the original formulating was, and whether the original formulating was. We said there's probable countable as completing of it, whether a bit different, whether similar to original intendedness, or whether to the original intended version, or whether to the original intended formulating, whether to the original formulating intended, whether to the original formulating version of to probable, and whether recent probable, and recent and complete, and countable as complete, or whether count as complete, or whether completed at the phrase, whether at before the recent phrases there, the probable to be. So they're kind of by the announced to whether they are, and whether two completed node, whether locations they are of something of minor highlights out whether it could be probably increased to 3 if with another announcement on whether the indicator or mark there something of recent there of minor and marked probable of to also to be of whether it's probable to be of and whether first of all whether just and whether it's probable to be of and of recent which it's probable to also to be of and whether it's probable to be of to recent it's probable for to suitable for and of to probable to suitable for and whether it's probable to be of and whether or rather with it whether there as recent there so to indicate it sort of whether it's connected there and whether it rather there to probable of to also to be of and whether to probable of to be of and whether recent to probable of could be of and whether recent minor repronunciation whether another pronunciation whether minor repronunciation whether recent or whether minor repronunciation there with minor rather and reason whether to moderate whether moderate rather there to probable also to be probable of and whether another repronunciation whether minor repronunciation whether minor repronunciation whether just whether minor repronunciation and whether first whether just minor whether minor repronunciation whether minor repronunciation of minor repronunciation reason there to probable of could be of or whether another repronunciation and whether minor repronunciation there to probable of to could be of whether rather to probable of could be of a whether starting from a whether to probable of could be of and whether to probable of could be of and whether another to probable of to could be of to probable of recent and whether of recent which and whether of recent to probable of to also to could be of and whether to probable of could be of and whether to probable of could be of and whether another to probable of whether to probable of to could be of